WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
My vehicle was sent 6 feet in the air in a ball of fire. I thought I was going to die.
It ripped my arm off. It broke my right femur.
I took such a hard blow to the head that my retina was torn apart.
Say a prayer for peace. I'm Trace Atkins. I want to tell you about these true American heroes and how you can show your thanks by helping them through Wounded Warrior Project.
They've reached out to us as a family, and they never forgot about us.
The job of helping thousands of our wounded warriors rebuild their lives is massive and growing every day. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Many of these service members suffer traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder.
They helped me basically put my life back together.
If it wasn't for Wounded Warrior Project, I would be a statistic right now. I would have been one of those soldiers who came home and committed suicide.
I'm in the fields of Vietnam, the mountains of Afghanistan. Your gift today of $19 a month can help us provide the programs and services desperately needed by our wounded service members. Call or go online with a pledge and you'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket. Make that call now. Say a prayer for peace.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Good morning to everyone out there. Thank you for taking the time to listen in and enjoy what we have to offer for you. And we do have quite a few different people that are going to be coming on today and sharing with us very interesting things. And this morning, normally I would have my co-host would be Miss Pam Worth, who is one of the top female kayak anglers here in Florida. She's out doing a tournament this morning, and in her place, I have the one and only Captain Hook. Good morning, Captain Hook.
Good morning to all. And how are you doing over there this morning, Riscala?
We're doing pretty good. Looking like it's going to be a clear, at least half of the day. We've got some stuff that is happening down south of us, moving towards the northeast, so it's going to be kind of moving in our northwest, moving in our direction. And but I don't think if that brings anything, I don't think that's going to happen for a while. So if you're going to do something, you've got to do it in the early part of the day today. Nice and sunny, a really beautiful day, and was kind of unique this morning. Got up, as I normally do, and have to walk my little buddy and make sure that he's happy, otherwise he's driving me crazy. And as the sun was coming up, we had the sun coming up on one side and the moon, which probably almost a full moon on the other, shining away. It was a really unique sight to see, with the sun coming up on one side and then you got the moon, a big old moon sitting there. Very, very beautiful. A very beautiful morning. What's it look like over there?
Pretty good. Today, the last few days, it's been storming first thing in the morning, but when I went downstairs earlier, it looked beautiful. It looked like it's going to start out to be a really nice day over here on the West Coast.
Yeah, so I am located in Palm Beach County, so I'm not really far down south as I used to be many moons ago, but still considered in part of South Florida. And Captain Hook is on almost parallel to me, just a little north of me, but almost due across, right across the state. And he's on the West Coast, there in St. Petersburg, Tampa area. And we will have, let's see, who we're going to have this morning. We're going to have Robert. Robert is one of my regulars. Robert always brings a wide variety of information. Robert is with the Florida Fisherman magazine. We're going to have Lisa Fitzgerald. Lisa is with the CCA Florida Star, and that's a very unique fishing tournament. If you haven't heard about it, I think you're going to get a kick out of it. I certainly did. It was I just love that they have one of their areas that you can actually win a prize is for picking up trash. And then let's see who else we're going to have today. We're going to have John Heim. John is going to tell us about what he has transpired this last week. John went to Washington to meet with some representatives up there and basically get in their face and let them know what's going on down here in Florida. And if you're not familiar with that, just stay tuned. We'll clarify that for you. But we have a catastrophe literally happening here in South Florida, and it's not affecting just people who might have some kind of activity on the water. It's affecting everybody because water is life, and we're talking about the actual corruption of all the water. Right now it's just in two areas, one on the West Coast and one on the East Coast. It's somewhat limited, but it is thousands of lives that have been affected, but not only human lives. We're talking about marine lives. There's other life out there, and a lot of times I think we take that for granted. And then we're also going to have Mike Simcoe. I always love having Mike on. Mike tells us all the unique things that you can do with a kite. You can, instead of just, people go tell you to fly a kite. If you're one of those married individuals, or your better half tells you, gets twisted with you and tells you to go fly a kite, go fly a kite and go fishing, it'll help relieve the stress. So anyway, I think we have, Mr. Warner on this morning, and he's going to be reporting from Key West, if I'm not mistaken. Are you there, Robert?
I am indeed.
And are you in Key West?
I am looking out at the Gulf side right now as we speak. So yes, there I am.
How's the weather down there?
The weather is beautiful. However, it rained all the way down yesterday from about Homestead to here. We drove in the rain all the way, but it is beautiful this morning.
Good.
So let's tell us a little bit about what's going on down there.
Well, we got here about 9 o'clock last night, so I don't know a whole lot, but about what's going on. But I did talk to a couple folks from Against the Grain Charters. Melanie Hausch and Charlie Rogers just got back from Costa Rica. They're going to be in the next issue of the magazine, as a matter of fact, with their story from Costa Rica, because they caught some dolphin that were just incredible. Got to be in the 60-pound range, I would think. Just huge. But
I saw a picture. I wonder if this is the same people. I saw a picture of a huge dolphin, and I said that was photoshopped. That was real.
No, was it a picture of a man and a woman standing with two dolphins?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real, and it's actually
gosh.
Yeah, they are real.
Oh,
and,
man.
I was talking to Melanie last night, and she said they actually caught some others that were a little smaller. Those were the two bigger ones, so they used those for the pictures, but they caught some others in the 30 and 40-pound range. So,
yeah, that was some serious. The first time I looked at
there's a lot of dinner there. So.
The first time I saw it, I said it's photoshopped. That's not real. No way. Wow.
No, it's photoshopped. It'll be in the next issue of the magazine, as a matter of fact, along with Lucinda Rose and Vicky Stark and a few other people, but that'll be in there. But there is a tournament coming up next Saturday here. The fire departments in the Dade County area are putting together a dolphin tournament. It's going to be out of Key Largo. They're both fishing it. Melanie and Charlie will be fishing it, so we'll have a report on that next weekend.
Great.
And
what kind of
I heard you discussing the river.
Mm-hmm.
Did Mr. Heim get on the radio with you last week?
He sure did. A week before, and he's going to be on today.
Okay. And I am actually going to sit with our local Congressman Brian Mast on the 6th when I get back up to Stewart and discuss just that. He is the one that took our fight to Washington. He's the one that showed up there with all the kids and said, these kids should be out in the water, and they can't be.
Yeah.
Because you guys would prefer to get money from U.S. Sugar than to take care of what we're doing here. So,
yeah.
But we'll have a meeting with him on the 6th when I get back, and look forward to talking to him, because he is the one, like I said, he's the one that went to Washington. It's funny, all these other guys are jumping on the bandwagon now, like, yeah, we care. But it was Brian Mast that got there first and said, this is wrong. This is just wrong. You're ruining a community on both sides of the state, and killing wildlife and keeping kids out of the water, and it's just wrong.
And tourism. There's an old saying: good news travels much slower than the bad news. Well, bad news travels 100 times faster than the good news, and then bad news is going out that we can't go swimming on our beaches, because if you do, you get flesh-eating bacteria.
That is possible. In some areas, depending on the level of the bacteria in the water, that is entirely possible.
It's already happening. Robert, it's already happening. I've read reports where it's already happening. 10 people, if I'm not mistaken. I'll see if John can verify for me. 10 people already had this.
Yep. And they treat it like a joke. They treat it like, it's been happening for years. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
It's just the way it is, and they blame 15 different things on why the algae's here. But this is a problem. It's gotten out of hand. It's got to be taken care of, and it's got to be taken care of now.
Yeah.
It's getting really close to the Indian River Lagoon. There were some reports that it had actually gotten into the beginnings of the Indian River Lagoon, and if it does, you can forget fishing on the East Coast for a couple of generations. So,
how sad.
Yep.
Well, I am certainly one who is very concerned over this, and that's why I wanted to have John back on. I greatly appreciate you putting me in contact with him. I wanted to have John back on. And the purpose of having him back on today, 2 weeks later, is that he went to Washington during this time, and I wanted to get an update of what he was able to do, or get an idea.
What time is he on? I want to make sure I hear that.
Captain Hook, you got it in front of you?
Yeah, he's coming on at the top of the next hour at 9:06.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I want to hear that. And good morning, Captain Hook. Didn't hear you there.
Good morning. I wish I was down there in the Keys with you. That's one of my favorite places in the world.
Yeah, me too. We'll all go out fishing. I'm going to go out. I'm going to see the people from, what is the name of their charter company? Well, I'll see the folks from Against the Grain in Key Largo on the way out of town, but I'm also going to visit with the folks from What's Crackin' Charters here in Key West, and I will be seeing them at some point tomorrow. Maybe get a little fishing in, and going to go see my friend Hunter Ledbetter, the photographer from down here, and maybe get a little flats fishing in, get an interview with him for the magazine at the same time. He's a very interesting guy. If anybody doesn't know who Hunter is, he's retired Marine colonel turned marine photographer, and he is getting his master's degree in marine biology now. So,
wow. So, and I'm sure he's knowledgeable in what's going on as well, right?
Oh yeah, he will know what's going on, but he lives down here, so he's probably not as familiar with our river issues as the folks that live in the immediate area where it's happening. But I'm sure he will have read about it. He reads up on everything and tries to keep current with everything, but it'll be nice to talk to him. I haven't seen him in a while, so.
I'm looking to get in touch with a marine biologist because I'd like to get the chemical side of this, how this chemically is happening, so that we can put, if we can, if it's possible, put a scientific touch to it. And I'm sure that the information is out there. This is just something that is relatively new to me. I mean, I've only been involved in this for what now, 3 shows? But I'm learning as I go along.
Okay. I'm going to get a hold of, I will get a hold of, the gentleman in charge of Save the Indian River Lagoon, who is a marine biologist. And, I will get him in touch with you.
Do you know what the Captain Planet project is?
I do not.
Okay. There's something I just ran into, and I don't know if this is, I don't know. I have to research it and see, but that's really what I'm looking for right now. So to kind of present it in a manner that would be, more understandable from a scientific point, from a biological point, because yes, it's very clear what's going on. John Heim will be on later, and he's a witness to what's going on, literally a witness, not just somebody who's had it secondhand. He's seen it, he's touched it, he's been there. So we'll have him on. He'll tell you that yes, we know that there's other lives that are being affected other than human. But this also affects our planet, our drinking water. It's not just on what we're seeing on the surface. We're disrupting a cycle, a nature cycle that could be, from what I understand, from the little research that I've done, could be very easily resolved by possibly using different kinds of plants that can absorb this stuff. And then those plants in turn could be taken and used for wild stock feed or recycled in some manner. That we don't have to put up with this. Anyway, that's why I want to
There are several solutions, and there are a lot of solutions that some of them need to be implemented and really quick, though. So
yeah, we've got to take action. I can't express how concerned I am, but not only that people should be concerned. Anybody on the other side of this microphone who's hearing what's going on, what we're speaking about this morning, you should be very, very concerned, because we're talking about the very water that comes out of your tap. It hasn't gotten to that point, and what we're trying to do is stop it. Stop it from getting to the point where we have people who cannot go swimming in our beaches. Why in the world would you live in Florida if you could not go swimming on the beaches? Please, come on.
Well, how would you like to have a waterfront restaurant, and the water smells so bad that people can't sit there?
It's worse than sewage. It's disgusting. Yep. It's just horrible.
It is a huge problem, and people are just they have to be aware of what's going on, and they have to take some action.
And I'm asking those who are on the other side of the microphone, please speak about this. Let's get this subject out there. This is really, really
vital. There's some midterm elections coming up. I strongly suggest you know where these people stand on this issue before you vote. So.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Robert, let's see. We can find you online, and how do we do that?
You can find us at flfishmag.com, on Facebook at Florida Fisherman Magazine. Same place on Instagram, Florida Fisherman Magazine, and got a new issue that'll be out August 15th, and the current one is out there, so check it out.
Well, thank you, my friend. God bless you. Safe travels as you go around, and I'll be looking forward to speaking with you again really soon. Don't go away,
Well, I'll
ladies
be
and
back
gentlemen.
next Sunday, and I'll let you know what's going on.
God bless. Talk to you soon.
All right.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Que Pasa Mexican Cantina is where friends and neighbors come to connect, share, and celebrate one another in a festive, casual atmosphere. Offering rich, robust flavors of authentic Mexican cuisine, we use only the freshest, finest ingredients. We chop and dice, season and blend, and then cook everything we serve to perfection. One thing that makes Mexican food even better is one of our delicious Best of the Bay margaritas. Our signature series of margarita flavors range from our sweet and fruity mango and strawberry to our hot and juicy jalapeno margarita. Having a busy meeting or getting together and looking for Mexican food? Try our Fast Fax form. It's an easy, fast way to order your favorite Mexican food. We have special platters and layouts for any occasion. The form is super easy to fill out, fax, email, or just call it in. Whether it's here in the restaurant, in your home or office, at Que Pasa we celebrate bringing people together. Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, 10478 Roosevelt Boulevard North Street in the Gateway Shopping Center, 727-330-3663 in St. Petersburg.
Hi folks, I'm Roger from Rogers Gotcha Motoring. If you need a local auto repair shop, Rogers Gotcha Motoring will take care of all of your automotive repair needs. If you need something as simple as an oil change or as complex as an engine overhaul, I have the latest in technology and the knowledge to get the job done right. We've been servicing Pinellas County since 1994 and are conveniently located at 3700 5th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you need service, call now at 727-327-1830 or visit my website at www.rogersgotchamotoring.com or like my Facebook page at Rogers Gotcha Motoring for a complete list of all of our services. So come on over to Rogers, that's me, and get your car service today. And don't forget to shop and support local business. Call now to book your appointment at 727-327-1830. That's 727-327-1830, or swing on by.
Grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. Shark, fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskalla Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riskalla Stevens.
All right, a good morning to you, and thank you for taking the time to tune in. It is the Fish Florida Show, and this morning I have my co-host with me, is Captain Hook, the one and only Captain Hook. Good morning, Captain Hook.
Good morning to all.
You got to stay on the lighter side of things. If we don't have a good attitude about what's going on, it would really become depressing very quickly. So we're going to have Liza here. Hopefully, Liza will be calling in just a moment. She's with CCA Florida, a very unique fishing tournament, and that has that has one of the categories, which I think is the coolest thing in the world. One of the categories is if you're out there and you are part of the membership of the group, and you're out there and you pick up trash, literally trash out of the ocean, and you enter this tournament, that you will be entered into a category to possibly win something. How's that? I love win-win situations. We were just talking about how important the water is. How great is that? You're cleaning up the water, and for cleaning up the water, there's an opportunity for you to possibly win something, anything. So you win, and we all win, and my gosh, those are the kind of deals that I try to do in business, where both sides win, because when that happens, the relationship continues. And anyway, we have Ms. Lisa on the line with us this morning. Good morning. Are you there, Miss Lisa? I can't hear her, Captain Hook.
No, I'm not hearing her either, but somebody's there. We've got somebody on the line here calling in, and I think it's Lisa Fitzgerald. Is that you? Lisa, do you have your phone muted?
Maybe that's what it is. Yep. Well, how about, if you can hear us, how about calling back? Let's try that. Maybe we just didn't make a good connection.
Yeah, we can try that. And Lisa, are you there? Well, I see her on my screen, but
yeah, and I see her showing up. But anyway, well, I'll ask her to give us a call back, and hopefully we can reconnect with her.
Right.
I thought it was very interesting. This is the first tournament I've ever heard of that has a category where you go out and you clean up the water, and you might win something for cleaning up the water. So I hope that she can call back and we can make.
Here we go. She's calling back now. Let's see if. And hello, Lisa. Are you with us?
Good morning.
There you go.
Yes. Good morning.
I'm not sure what happened. I could hear you, but you could not hear me.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Well, we fixed it.
Yes.
MacGyvers.
Yep. Well, welcome to the Fish Florida Show.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here, and thank you so much for promoting the STAR competition and the fact that we do have a trash division. That trash division is pretty amazing. Costa Kick Plastic Trash Division, to be exact. And it's a great initiative. It's not only designed to reward individuals for any day that they're anywhere near the Gulf or the Atlantic or a coastal waterway for picking up garbage, but it's designed to educate you to see that during the day, if we can try to eliminate the amount of plastic that we have in our everyday lives, we can make a difference going forward. So stop using plastic bags and use your reusable bags, and stop using plastic plates. Use paper plates. There's so many things that we can do. Plastic water bottles are one of the biggest culprits when it comes to plastic in our waterways. And if we just use reusable water bottles, imagine the number of water bottles that we would eliminate.
When you talk about plastic water bottles, now I come from a plastics background. I ran a plastics plant for about 14 years. Plastic water bottles, the ones that are really, some people are going to get really upset with me, but this is the truth. You can verify this. You don't have to believe me. Just go check it out on your own. Plastic water bottles, especially the ones that are really, really flexible, are not good to drink water out of those, and especially not good if you leave that in your car and let it warm up. What happens is there's these things called plasticizers in the plastic, and they will migrate out of the plastic into the water. And the first thing that happens is that they will begin to attack certain organs in your body. So you continue to drink that water thinking that you're drinking clean stuff. You're not. And as Lisa points out, there's so much plastic bottles that it's truly unnecessary. A little bit of common sense would. I will not drink out of plastic. It's either got to be glass or a specific kind of stainless steel. I would prefer copper, but it's just too hard to get anymore. So I won't drink out of plastic because of my experience. I know what it is and I know what it does. And when I tell you that it has an effect on you, this isn't drinking it for 1 or 2 days. If you're somebody who drinks this nonstop, after a degree of time, probably a year or so, you're going to start seeing some differences going on in your body. And you're not going to know where it's coming from. And I can tell you, if you start doing your research, you'll find that water in plastic, soft plastic bottles is not good for you to drink. Okay.
But it's even worse for our marine organisms to ingest.
Yeah.
So, twofold here. Remove it from the water so that they don't ingest it, and then
that's right.
Remove it from your lives so you guys don't get sick.
And have an opportunity to be rewarded for that.
Exactly. And, Sunsect insect repellent gave the organization $1,500 cash in order to reward someone for picking up garbage. Wow. So in that situation, when you pick up a 5-gallon bucket, you've actually and submit it. You take a photo of it. You enter.
I'm afraid we lost Lisa. There she is.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Am I back again?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. We just cut out for a split second there.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't.
Lisa,
I don't think it's you, Lisa. We've been having issues this morning. Literally minutes before we went on the air, I had a power outage. Let's talk about sweating bullets. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I think that, that could be what's causing the problem, but you have to understand that I'm in rural Florida as well. Mm-hmm. So that can also cause an issue. But I did want to share that, Sunset gave us the $1,500 cash for the first place prize, and it's a random drawing. So even if you just pick up one 5-gallon bucket, you still have an opportunity to win something. Second place prize, listen to this. It is a Body Glove Mariner XL fishing paddleboard. It's an inflatable paddleboard. Wow. And it was ranked one of the best inflatables on the market, and that's for second place prize just for picking up garbage. And then Academy and Costa sunglasses together, you'll get third place prize is a $125 gift certificate from Academy Sports, and then Costa is giving away sunglasses. So, you just can't go wrong with participating in that competition. But I have some really exciting news for you.
Please.
Because your listeners are all over the state of Florida, in our tagged redfish division. I want to see a show of hands of all the listeners that are registered.
She cut out again?
Yeah, she cut out again. She's out in the country up by around Ocala somewhere. And I know from living there that the reception is horrible.
Is that better? Can you guys hear me now?
There you go. Yep. Now we got you back.
Okay. Got me back.
Yep.
So I can tell you that we have had 2 tagged redfish caught last week.
Wow.
Yes, 2. And the good news and the bad news. I'll give you the bad news first. The bad news is that in Volusia County, the gentleman who was fishing caught his redfish fishing for dinner, threw it in his cooler, and kept fishing for a little bit. Caught a few other fish that were not keepers. Went ahead and went on home. Went to clean his fish, and guess what was sticking out of that fish?
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
A 2018 tag. Now, the guy knew about the competition, knew about Star, had been following us, knew about it, so he said, I'm not...
Lisa, we're losing you again.
Can you imagine what that guy felt like?
Yeah, really.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's a major prize. When she comes back, hopefully she will be able to
I think it's like a truck or a boat or something, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. You talk about ruin your day.
Lisa, are you with us? Are you with us? If you can hear us, we're not hearing you. But anyway, yeah. One of the questions I want to ask her if she comes back on here now, if you catch one that's tagged, can you keep the fish, or are you supposed to throw them back with the tag?
I think
and let somebody else catch them again.
If it's edible, I think you can, just like this redfish. I think you can keep it, but you have to go through a certain procedure in order to measure it. They like on their website, they have something you can look at on how to measure it, and then you have to take a picture of it, and you have to go through a certain. It's not just I caught the fish, give me the money. It doesn't work that easy.
Lisa, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
hot dog.
Yep, there you go.
So that was the bad news. And yes, he could have won a brand new GMC pickup truck.
I knew it. Yeah.
He could have won a brand new Carolina Skiff 21 Ultra with a 115 Yamaha on it, or a Hughes Redfisher with a brand new Yamaha, or a Cottonmouth shallow water aluminum black boat with a 115 Yamaha on it.
I sincerely hope that he is not listening.
Gosh, yeah.
Lisa, what I was asking Riscala before. Now, can you keep these fish? I mean, or are you supposed to throw them back, or what's the rules?
You can keep the fish if you would like. It's not required for you to release them, but we ask that you do if you're not registered in the competition, so that you give someone else an opportunity to win.
Right.
Plus, you give me the information on that fish, the size and the length, you release it, and if someone else catches it, we get the information, where they travel, how much they've grown. This fish that he caught grew 2 inches. I released it in April in an area very near where he caught it. It grew 2 inches since April.
Well, so one fish might be worth 2 trucks, basically, right?
Well, no. If you're registered in the competition, you're required to cut the tag off the fish.
So you can't, I got you.
But if you're not registered, we ask that you release the fish.
I got you. All right.
Just like the gentleman who caught a fish in Pasco County. That's the good news. The gentleman fishing the Anclote River caught a fish in Pasco County. And he was smart enough to know that he had something of value. He had heard about the competition, so he took and he put the fish in a live well, and he did some research, and he found that he couldn't win anything because he was not registered before he caught the fish. So he called us on the phone and asked us what to do. And we told him to please release the fish. Give us a video of that fish being released. And he did exactly that. He released the fish, gave us a great video, showed us releasing it into the wild, we could tell, into the river. And he's registered himself, and now he's fishing that area where he caught that fish. And, because we know those fish will eat again.
Yeah.
And he has the opportunity of recapturing that fish, and he would be qualified.
I would never fish anywhere else except for that one spot. That would be it.
Well, that's what I told him. We definitely hope that he recaptures that fish just because he did the right thing. He could have kept that fish, and he didn't.
That was nice. That's good.
That was,
yeah.
That's the kind.
So we still have. Pardon me?
I was going to say that's the kind of story I like hearing.
And those are great stories. I mean, Riscal, we have so many stories like that, great stories like that. We also have, not so great stories. But, the good ones are, to date, this competition and Coastal Conservation Association has awarded $300,000 in college scholarships.
Wow.
That's a lot of college scholarship money.
Wow.
A lot of great organizations, Academy Sports and Outdoors, Real Tree Fishing, Talk of the Town Restaurant Group, which is Charlie's and Moonfish Grill, Vito's Chop House, Texas Cattle Company. They've all donated money. We have Bell's, Real Legends. They donated $5,000 every year since the inception. Southeastern Environmental Solutions. All these companies have come forward to get our youth engaged in the sport of fishing and going to college. So we award those scholarships. And this year, with an additional $100,000 in college scholarships, we will have awarded a total of $400,000.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
By any stretch of the imagination, that is not pocket change.
Yeah.
No. And the kids, I mean, we have our awards banquet on October the 20th in Crystal River. And we bring those youth in, and it's all about them. We do a wonderful presentation to them. We give you their background. They get their pictures up on the Jumbotron. They have a great time. And that banquet is open to the public. It's October the 20th in Crystal River at Rock Crusher Canyon.
Wow.
We might have to.
This is one of the reasons why I enjoy having you on, because first of all, I've never heard of a fishing tournament that you could possibly win something for picking up trash. That really caught my attention right off the bat, coming from the background that I have, knowing what plastic is and what it does. Anything that we can do to reduce that is phenomenal. And then to take the opportunity to have a possibility of winning something just for helping the environment and other people. When you pick up trash out of the waterways, you're not just helping yourself and giving yourself an opportunity if you're entered into this tournament. You're also helping other people. I mean, that's the greatest service to help each other. It's the greatest thing that we can do. And I just love that. And then the idea of all the money that's going out to help kids to go through school, because it's a tough time right now. Anybody who knows anything about our economy knows, even though our economy is growing, it's still tough for people to get into school and pay. There's all kinds of costs that are involved there. So everybody wins, and I love that. Thank you so much, Lisa. I greatly appreciate that. Did we lose her again, Captain Hunt?
I think it's so intermittent, and but we're past the commercial break.
Yeah, we got to take a break. So anyway, let's go to the break, and we'll be back in just a few.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip. You can find your tide reports, buoy reports, get a fishing license, and even find someone to go fishing with. Plus great products and services from all our media partners. And oh yeah, you can get the Fish Florida Show on the app. Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern here on the WDBF radio networks. So download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip and tune in.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket. Hit ignition. And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
My vehicle was sent 6 feet in the air in a ball of fire. I thought I was going to die.
It ripped my arm off. It broke my right femur.
I took such a hard blow to the head that my retina was torn apart.
Say a prayer for peace.
I'm Trace Atkins. I want to tell you about these true American heroes and how you can show your thanks by helping them through Wounded Warrior Project.
They've reached out to us as a family, and they never forgot about us.
The job of helping thousands of our wounded warriors rebuild their lives is massive and growing every day. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Many of these service members suffer traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder.
They helped me basically put my life back together.
If it wasn't for Wounded Warrior Project, I would be a statistic right now. I would have been one of those soldiers who came home and committed suicide.
I'm in the fields of Vietnam, the mountains of Afghanistan.
Your gift today of $19 a month can help us provide the programs and services desperately needed by our wounded service members. Call or go online with a pledge and you'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket. Make that call now.
Say a prayer for peace.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. We've been talking about this CCA Florida Star tournament and the unique category of cleaning up the waterways, and then in doing that having an opportunity, a possibility of not only helping other people by cleaning up the waterway and of course helping the marine life there, having an opportunity to possibly win something, be rewarded for that, having a great benefit behind it. And then of course she talks about the gentleman who caught the fish and didn't realize what he had and took it home for dinner. I don't know if I'd want to hear about that, Captain Hook. What do you think?
That would be one fish that I don't think I'll ever forget, you know. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's just like eating a brand new truck, you know.
Oh my goodness. Well, I having a great time out there. Oh my gosh, I finally got dinner, and I'm looking forward to having dinner and not paying attention to what's going on, getting home, and then realize what.
Well, that just goes to show you that everybody should go on CCA Florida Star Tournament website and join, because you just never know, especially if you're, if you fish at all, you just never know what you're going to hit. You know, you never know what you're going to catch.
And I don't think it's very expensive. I think it's like $40 or something.
Yeah, I think it's like $40. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's well worth the investment. And, for those of us who enjoy fishing, it's an opportunity to have not only get your investment back. Oh my goodness, if you're one of those who catches one of those tagged fish, and I'm glad you asked her about being able to keep the fish, because I thought that was the deal. I think if they're edible and they're within season and they're not restricted, then you can,
as long as it's legal, right? As long as it's legal to keep them, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to know is if you threw it back, and but she explained that is they want you to cut the tags off. I'm thinking, well, you throw that fish back, and that fish might be worth 2 or 3 prices, But no, she's, that's.
And I think the one guy that did catch the fish and then called it in and told them what they had, and I think that was very considerate. You're not thinking of just yourself, because you could have kept it and taken it home. Well, I'm not. What's in it for me? That kind of attitude. And
then they asked him to make a video of him releasing it back into the wild, and he did. And but like I said, to her on the air, that's the only place I would be fishing from now on. That's one.
I'll tell you. So I failed to ask her, but I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, the fish that he caught would have got him a truck as well, probably, right?
Exactly. But he wasn't entered. That's the thing, Yeah. So you got to enter. So everybody go, when you get done with our show today, you go to CCA Florida Star Tournament and register, because you just never know. The next truck might be yours.
Everybody wins. See, that's the kind of thing I like, where everybody wins. We're not just one side of the equation benefits, but both sides of the equation benefit. That's the kind of thing that I enjoy. And I have never heard of a tournament with a portion that is dedicated to picking up trash. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Never. Nope.
Yeah. See, so it tells me that they're not just in it for money. They're in it to help everybody. Everybody wins when you're picking up garbage out of the water. You lose. You can't, So even if you have the opportunity to benefit, to win some kind of monetary benefit from that, even if you don't, you still win because you're helping clean up the waterways, which is what we've been talking about earlier. I was hoping to see if I can get John to call in a little early, and we discuss what's going on chemically, hopefully, with what's happening in our waterways, because this is really going to affect everybody. There's no way out of this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that our buddy Robert Warner from Fish Florida, Florida Fish Magazine. He's going to be meeting with Brian Mast, and that'll be very interesting. We've had, back in the days when we did the Dick Farrell show on this station, we had Brian Mast on several times when he was running, and he's a really nice guy, and so it seems like he's going to be the congressman in your area that would be the go-to guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, if that's what we need to do, then that's what we need to do, because, again, I'm not only am I a parent, I'm a grandparent. And what are we leaving our children and our grandchildren? And it's reached a point now where, if I'm not mistaken, this is the worst it's ever been. I'll have to verify that, but if I'm not mistaken, this is the worst that it has ever been. We are having, it's not just our lives as humans, but marine life is lots of marine life is dying, and nobody wants to report about it because it's not good news, quote, good news, if you understand what I'm saying. It's not the kind of news that people want to tune into and go, oh my gosh, we've had 30 turtles die on I think it's on the West Coast, but with all of this that's going on, 30 sea turtles have died, over 30 manatees have died, hundreds and hundreds of fish have died, stingrays, sharks washing up. This is really serious. This is very, very serious, but you are not going to hear typically about this on the mainstream, because it's not the kind of news that they want spread out. It's one of those things where, well, it's disadvantageous to our tourism. Well, when they get down here and find out that they can't even go in the water, how are they going to feel when they go back home and go, oh, I went to Florida, oh my God, you can't even go in the water. What do you think that's going to do?
Yeah, that'll be the end of tourism for the state of Florida. But now we're getting to a point to where it's almost a point of no return. So something drastic has to change. We have to
act out. We have to do whatever is necessary. This is why I wanted John to get on, because he is politically active in this, and he could bring in the political experience that he has and say, okay, well, this is I don't know whether it's petitions or I don't know. I wish I knew more. I'm embarrassingly ignorant about this, and I shouldn't be, but I am. And I'm afraid that's probably one of the reasons that these people have been able to carry this as far as it has, is because most of us, we're working full time trying to earn a living to support our families. We're not concerned, well, we should be, but we're not learning about all the, the technicalities at the political side of this thing and who is doing what and why this is happening.
Yeah, and that's where it's going to get fixed, is on the political end. When you put the pressure on the politicians to do something. And Robert brought up a good point, too, that this is a midterm election year, and you better figure out who's standing for what before you pull the switch for them.
Yeah. I heard one of the I'm trying to remember if it was a video or an article. I think it was an article that I read, where one of the ideas they had was to drill really deep wells and start putting this water in these deep wells and letting it sit there. To me, that is like, so where's your brain? Who would come up with such an idiotic idea?
Yeah, that's what we need to do, is take that nasty water and stick it in the ground in our aquifer.
Right. Let's right directly. It's like I said earlier, it's going to come out of your tap. Eventually, will be, like, where's that place? Chicago, not Chicago, Illinois,
Flint, Michigan. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. And nobody, with all the people that are horrible, the water that comes out of the tap, with all the people that it's affected, you think they would have straightened it out by now.
Yeah.
But no, because we go back to this political thing, which is just, we have to put that aside and tell people, look, this is beyond politics. This is lives. This is not just, we're not just talking about human lives. We're talking marine life. We're talking the plant. The planet. The planet is a living organism, whether you want to realize that or not. The planet is a huge living organism. And you're affecting the cycle of the living organism of this planet, because there's going to be people who say, well, this is normal. This is not normal to have this kind of thing go on. Not at all.
Yeah, well, one of the things that was in the news this week was, see out in California, they're banning plastic straws. I'm going, really? Yeah. You say, that's a hell of a step. Why don't you ban something, ban all plastic. Ban plastic straws.
We're talking about political, right? Well, the truth of coming from a plastics background, plastics is a great product, and don't misunderstand me, because we can take plastic. For example, we were plastic formers. We took plastic and we formed parts out of it. Well, we could take plastic, and those parts that didn't get formed right, we could grind them back, almost like wax. This is an oversimplification. Grind them back up and then reform them again. The problem with that is that it doesn't break down properly. It's not an organic product because it's made from petroleum. The result is pollution, all kinds of pollution. Anyway, I hope we have John on. Is John on the line with us now?
John Heim is on the line.
Hey, how you doing there?
All right, hot dog. John, we have been discussing this morning this, I call it a catastrophe, and maybe that's an over exaggeration, but to me this is a catastrophe, what's going on. We've been discussing this a little bit this morning, and I'm hoping you can shed some light on it. I know that you were up in Washington this last week?
Correct, yep. Just returned about a day and a half ago.
Can you give us an update of what has transpired?
Well, I want to backtrack, to chime in on what you just said. This is nothing short of a catastrophe. Let's be clear. This is an ecological disaster happening, and, we need all in. So a trip to Washington, D.C., sure. We can talk about that. As one person, I went to Washington, D.C., met with other clean water activists, and, basically lobbied for the discontinuation of the Lake Okeechobee discharges and this toxic nightmare that we're dealing with.
Riscala, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I thought he was going to continue. I apologize.
No, I wanted to be short, so go right ahead with your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were discussing, I don't know how deeply involved you are in this, in the chemical side of this, regarding the actual chemical reaction that's going on and what's causing There are people who claim, well, red tide is a cyclical thing. I can't argue that. We've had red tide for I don't know how long. But then I read articles that tell me this stuff that is being discharged out on either side of the state is like giving this red tide steroids. And I want someone who understands. Huh?
Yeah, that's right. That's correct. If I can speak to that, I'll jump in. You know, when you have a nutrient explosion and phosphorus explosion mixing in with a red tide, that fuels it. So you're absolutely correct. When people say the Lake Okeechobee discharges have nothing to do with the red tide, that's okay and correct to a certain degree. But when you start to blend nitrogen and phosphorus levels from Lake Okeechobee discharges into a red tide bloom, then you get a super bloom. Where I'm at presently, on Fort Myers Beach, Florida, I was greeted to come home. Basically got off the plane, came right to the island of Fort Myers Beach, got on my bike and rode out to the beach, and was greeted by thousands and thousands of dead fish.
Hang on just a minute, John, because we're up against a hard break. Please don't go away, because I want to continue discussing this. It's the Fish Florida Show, my friends. Please don't go away. This is a vital, vital subject for us to discuss. Please tune back in. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high-quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Hi folks, I'm Roger from Rogers Gotcha Motoring. If you need a local auto repair shop, Rogers Gotcha Motoring will take care of all of your automotive repair needs. If you need something as simple as an oil change or as complex as an engine overhaul, I have the latest in technology and the knowledge to get the job done right. We've been servicing Pinellas County since 1994 and are conveniently located at 3700 5th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you need service, call now at 727-327-1830 or visit my website at www.rogersgotchamotoring.com or like my Facebook page at Rogers Gotcha Motoring for a complete list of all of our services. So come on over to Rogers, that's me, and get your car service today. And don't forget to shop and support local business. Call now to book your appointment at 727-327-1830. That's 727-327-1830, or swing on by.
Que Pasa Mexican Cantina is where friends and neighbors come to connect, share, and celebrate one another in a festive, casual atmosphere. Offering rich, robust flavors of authentic Mexican cuisine, we use only the freshest, finest ingredients. We chop and dice, season and blend, and then cook everything we serve to perfection. One thing that makes Mexican food even better is one of our delicious Best of the Bay margaritas. Our signature series of margarita flavors range from our sweet and fruity mango and strawberry to our hot and juicy jalapeno margarita. Having a busy meeting or getting together and looking for Mexican food? Try our Fast Fax form. It's an easy, fast way to order your favorite Mexican food. We have special platters and layouts for any occasion. The form is super easy to fill out, fax, email, or just call it in. Whether it's here in the restaurant, in your home or office, at Que Pasa we celebrate bringing people together. Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, 10478 Roosevelt Boulevard North Street in the Gateway Shopping Center, 727-330-3663 in St. Petersburg.
Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Hey, this is Captain Hook for Statewide Pest Control Services. They've been serving the west coast of Florida since 1987. Statewide does it all. Pest control, termites, lawns, mosquitoes, tent fumigations, etc. This announcement is from their mold division. Since Hurricane Charlie in 2004, all their personnel are certified in mold and moisture control. Their two-step services are guaranteed to get you back in your home quicker and in most cases paid by your insurance company. Give them a call at 877-488-7378. That's Statewide Pest Control Services for all your pests and mold control needs, serving Florida from Pasco to Lee counties. Statewide Pest Control Services, 877-488-7378. 877-488-7378. That's 877-488-7378.
You're listening to WDBFradio.com, a tune-in station.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. Stop fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Okay, we are back. It is the Fish Florida Show. I am your host, Riscala, and I have as a special co-host this morning, Captain Hook. Good morning, Captain Hook.
Good morning to all.
And, we have been discussing a very... not so popular subject this morning, but this is something that is of main concern to me, and it should be of a main concern to you on the other side of this microphone. Even if you are not affected by what is happening yet, okay, there's a key word in there, Y-E-T. Even if you're not affected by what is happening yet, because eventually, if you're living here in South Florida, what we're discussing is going to affect you if we don't stand up for what is right. And what is right is for people to take responsible action in the proper drainage of Lake Okeechobee. We are literally destroying the very thing, that very platform that gives us life. We are literally destroying it. I know people don't want to hear this. We could be talking about a lot happier subjects, like we did with the CCA Florida tournament. That's one of the greatest subjects. I love speaking about that because everybody wins. But how are you going to win if you can't even fish in the water anymore? What purpose would there be in joining anything if the water becomes so polluted that you can't even swim in the water anymore? The water is now so toxic in places that if it's subjected to human flesh, there is a strong possibility of getting flesh-eating bacteria on your body. Anyway, I have John Heim with me. John is someone who's extremely concerned as I am, and it's always a pleasure to have someone who shares this vision with me, because we must clean up our waters. Our bodies, if you can go online and verify what I'm saying, depending upon who you ask, your body is anywhere from 60 to 75% water. Now you think about that for a moment as we discuss the pollution and the corruption that's going on within our society and the irresponsible actions that people are taking that is towards our water and all of the damage that is being done. Your body and my body, minimum of 60% water. If we don't take care of that water, what does that mean for our future? Thank you for hanging on, John. Thank you for coming back, and thank you for what you do. Thank you for taking the time to go up there and speak to these people and bring to their attention what is going on here in Florida.
Thank you.
John, I got a quick question for you. Did you get any kind of good results, or did you feel like it was heading in the right direction? Did you get any kind of positive flow going on when you was in Washington?
Well, this is a game of inches, not only measured by water, also measured by political accountability. So what I've got out of the trip is, tiny little victories, and you want to point the pendulum into the right direction. We're talking about SEP and SERP, and these projects are going to take time. So the takeaway was, the politicians, for the first time in my life, when it comes to visiting them, this is my 5th time on a federal level, 9 times on a state level, but it seems as if the temperature and the mood is different this time because they got their hands, caught inside the cookie jar, so to speak. And, So the politicians are in agreement and talking highly about the idea of a reservoir south. We need federal and state signatures to pass that through, and we need that to happen before the session break. So again, we're up against a wall when it comes to our politicians doing the right thing. Verbiage and meeting a person like me, in person in D.C., okay, that goes only a certain mile. I did get the confirmations from these people on the federal level that they would sign off on the Reservoir South and to clean the water and to do the right thing finally. However, that's verbiage. We've yet to see the action.
Right, and that's going to take a complete full floor vote to make that happen?
Correct. So we're waiting on the federal government to sign off right now on the reservoir, and we need that done basically before the session ends, because we're in a reality of, to even the politicians explain it this way, that if they were to let it lag and be presented after the break, it would go out of their minds. So this is the reality of what's going on here, to where people like ourselves on the ground level, we have to keep the foot, the pedal to the metal, so to speak, when it comes to reminding these politicians of the ecological disaster we're living through presently. That's true, and it's also a midterm election year for them. So, and that's one of the things that we were discussing before, is trying to figure out which politicians that we want to elect to go in there and head up this sort of environmental push. Yeah, I mean, this couldn't be the more of a perfect storm for Florida when it comes to the election coming. The way I personally look at it is we're in a prime position to create change with the election. People should really take their frustration and anger to the ballot box. Right. This is a state issue, keep in mind. Sure, it's shared with the federal government to a certain degree, but the takeaway from Washington, D.C. is this is a state issue. This is the state's fault. If you want to point the finger at somebody and you want to be with the group that has in one hand pitchforks and in the other hand fire poles, your blame is onto the South Florida Water Management District. Right. This really boils down to mismanagement. Right. And that's the problem here. Yeah, and at about 60 or 70 years of mismanagement, too. This is nothing new. Right. Correct. To back it up and give you an example, I'm talking with Congressman Rooney, who's in our district, who's being completely affected by the discharges 100%. When he pulled out his map, he spoke to me about all of these areas in South Florida which are holding water right now. In other words, water on the surface, and the water has to go somewhere. As he explained that, I pointed back at the map and said, I can point to one area that does not have water on its surface, and that would be the sugar fields. So business as normal for, the agricultural giant as we go through this ecological disaster. So that's just not shared adversity. That's not fair to all of the other communities. They will quickly say that they're doing this, obviously, for reasons to protect the welfare and lives of the people south of the lake. Okay, if that's true, then why aren't we using all of resources? So we're in a state of emergency, and we do have the ability to send water south presently right now, but not happening. Right.
John, let me ask this. Normally the water would go south, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That's Mother Nature's way, yeah, before the rivers were connected.
Yeah. Has anybody presented other solutions to this issue? Because I have read, I'm sorry, I watched the video, not an article. I've been doing a lot of research on this, and I was up till 1 o'clock last night, doing some reading. And this was a video, I think, from somebody here locally who says that they could plant something. Are you aware of that? Some kind of a plant that could be planted that could take care of this?
Oh, you're probably speaking of, foliage, grass that would actually clean the water prior, it's a filtration system. And that's the way it used to be set up through the river of grass historically. Now we're talking about, 1,000 people moving to Florida today, the overconsumption of rushing water. So, that theory in general would not work, because we're talking about trillions of gallons of water that are coming at a rapid pace compared to what it used to be historically. So we have to take measures to realize what's happening now as opposed to 80-some years ago. We can't just send water south the way we used to, because of the management issues, the way they've trenched these rivers, so to speak. The Kissimmee, they're currently trying to get back to its zigzag nature. And, that's through the federal government, and that's through SERP. And so, you want to be mindful of what you're doing here. You can't just send polluted, dirty water south to the Everglades at this point. Mm-hmm. So, and on top of it, you can't send rushing water to the south.
So you spoke of a reservoir, some kind of a reservoir?
Mm-hmm. Correct. This is introduced through state legislation, Joe Negron called it House Bill, Senate Bill 10, if you want to be specific, and it's made it all the way to the federal people, and it's just waiting for their signatures. Now, this reservoir is also just a Band-Aid kind of theory, but you again have to take these little victories, the game of inches. Never before has the politicians stepped forward to even speak of sending water south, let alone creating a reservoir. So the reservoir may be too small in the grand picture, but we have to start somewhere. So let's take it as a victory, and if we don't get it, in other words, they will just completely scratch it off the funding table, and we won't get it. So we have to be happy with what we get right now. And I know that sounds defeatist, but this is the way to win this victory, is a game of inches.
I've always believed a small piece of pie is better than no pie at all. I mean, that's just the way I look at things. And this to me feels like it's a small piece of pie. But again, what are the alternative to this? To continue to allow, John, am I mistaken? I'm gonna make a statement. You tell me if I'm correct or wrong, correct or wrong. It's early. I'm still drinking coffee. Is this the worst it has ever been?
Correct. And my personal view, of being on the ground level, fighting for clean water in South Florida, for 20 years plus, as a resident of this area for 35 years, I've never seen it this bad before. We're talking about two blooms intercepting each other and, creating a mega bloom, basically. So red tide mixing with a cyanobacteria. I've never really witnessed this before, to the degree of when I went to Washington, you could even see the mood and the temperature within the politicians of, oh God, we've done it now, so we don't even know what to do. So it's gotten to that degree to where it's so bad even the managers agree that they don't know presently what to do.
And if I'm not mistaken, the fastest action that we can take in order to help alleviate this at all is to build these reservoirs. This would be the quickest. It's not a solution, but this would be the quickest action to help alleviate it. Would that be correct?
Right, correct. And to not sound defeatist, it's going to take at least 10 years. So we're going to be in this mess for quite some time. We're going to have to figure out ways to get out of this. When I presently speak right now, this place is a ghost town. This place is littered with dead fish. This place has toxic water surrounding us. So, how do the people on the ground level survive this for not only this present time, but the alleviation of 10 years down the road? When I went to D.C., what I spoke of is that the governor has placed us in a state of emergency. We're looking to supersede that state of emergency because it does nothing for aid when it comes to the regular people. Now they're talking about, small business loans attached to the state of emergency and a possible tax break for businesses. What about the regular people, the people that are losing money through fishing tours and, guides and such like that? What about the waiters and the bartenders and the people on the ground level? So this is nothing short of a disaster to where we're asking FEMA to come in and provide aid.
Wow.
Right. It's like a giant oil spill almost,
Might as well
the perception is the same. The perception is the same. When you go out to the beach, when you go out to the waterways, you're going to see wildlife completely disoriented. So they do not have oil on them like an oil spill, but the same kind of disorientation, the same massive fish kill, the same death and destruction to our ecosystem at large. So this is no different than our BP oil spill.
What is the forecast for the Fort Myers area for this to alleviate itself?
Hanging with the scientists. I'm fortunate enough to be around really sound mind people. Their prediction is this is going to last well into season, which would start around the holidays. So it's not going to clear out. We're talking about we're in the ultimate catch-22.
Right.
You can imagine if we don't have the discharges right now, the water becomes stagnant and not moving in the river, and creates, a better chance for a super bloom of the cyanobacteria.
How far?
Catch-22 theory is if we continue the discharges, that's more toxic water. The lake is 90% full of cyanobacteria. So we're damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't right now.
How far north does that extend to?
It's going all the way up towards Captiva Island and starting to trickle into Charlotte County now.
Wow. Jeez.
And how about on the other side?
St. Lucie River, so it goes all the way through Port St. Lucie, Stewart region, even dips up to Jupiter.
And John, again, I'm ignorant about this, so forgive me if this sounds silly. Is there anything that we can do to treat the algae itself, other than add more toxins into the water? Is there anything that you are aware of that would be organic that would, eat the algae?
Well, I'm very happy that you asked this question. You can imagine, I literally came home from D.C., I went to bed. I woke up the very next day. On the front page was an article about the Lee County commissioners here that are looking to remove the algae. From my training and my experience through science work, the last thing you want to do is disrupt the blue-green algae patches. Okay, so that's when it becomes more toxic, when you start to disrupt it and move it. So the idea of removal is actually out of sight, out of mind. And what do they plan on doing with the algae? The county commissioners are talking about deep well injection. So they're looking to pump this stuff into the water, or into the ground of Florida, which will eventually trickle into our aquifer. And once it goes into our aquifer and taints our aquifer, there's no turning back.
Yeah.
I'm up against a break.
So,
listen, John, I'm up against a break. I got to take this break. Don't hang up, because I want to continue this. Again, this is very vital. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Got to take a break.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip. You can find your tide reports, buoy reports, get a fishing license, and even find someone to go fishing with. Plus great products and services from all our media partners. And oh yeah, you can get the Fish Florida Show on the app. Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern here on the WDBF radio networks. So download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip and tune in.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit
ignition. And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
My vehicle was sent 6 feet in the air in a ball of fire. I thought I was going to die.
It ripped my arm off. It broke my right femur.
I took such a hard blow to the head that my retina was torn apart.
Say a prayer for peace.
I'm Trace Atkins. I want to tell you about these true American heroes and how you can show your thanks by helping them through Wounded Warrior Project.
They reached out to us as a family, and they never forgot about us.
The job of helping thousands of our wounded warriors rebuild their lives is massive and growing every day. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Many of these service members suffer traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder.
They helped me basically put my life back together.
If it wasn't for Wounded Warrior Project, I would be a statistic right now. I would have been one of those soldiers who came home and committed suicide.
I'm in the fields of Vietnam, the mountains of Afghanistan.
Your gift today of $19 a month can help us provide the programs and services desperately needed by our wounded service members. Call or go online with a pledge and you'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket. Make that call now.
Say a prayer for peace.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Okay, we are back, and it is an honor and a privilege to be with you. And I know that we could talk about a lot happier subjects. If you're just tuning in, we've been talking about something that may not be a very popular subject, but it is a reality of why many of us live here in South Florida, and that is something to do with the water, whether that's fresh water or salt water. Really doesn't make any difference. The reason that we're here is that we live on a peninsula, and a peninsula means that we are surrounded basically by water on all three sides of this piece of land that we live on. And again, I could be talking about a lot happier subjects, but the reality of what is going on, my friends, this is something that I feel is very vital to our own health, if anything at all, to our very health. This is vital to our health. When we have reached a point in this place that we call a summer paradise, the Sunshine State, the place that is surrounded by water on all three sides, when we reach a point where you can't go in the water because it literally threatens your life. I've got John Heim with me, and he has years of experience of this, and I'm going to ask him a question in just a moment to verify what I'm saying. If I'm not mistaken, people have already died as in they're no longer living, died because they have come in contact with this water on different parts of the state. John, can you verify that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're talking about flesh-eating disease here, where it's been pretty well documented that people have perished, through water quality alone. I know this as fact, where just a gentleman 2 years ago, right here on Fort Myers Beach, went fishing into the Back Bay, did not get fully in the water, and was in a boat and literally had, high bacteria counts of water splash up on him while he was in the boat, and unfortunately contracted flesh-eating disease and rapidly, obtained it, and overnight he had passed away. I had met with his partner who he was with a year later, where they had come to, pay respects to him in those waters, and got the story about it. And, these are just one example of the countless people that are not documented. This is such a big thing to where tourism in Florida is a huge industry, and it's kind of like Jaws the movie. So they don't want these kind of stories getting out, but they're becoming so prevalent nowadays that the major media markets are picking up on them, and the powers that be can't stop the reality of what's happening here.
Can you tell me? I want to go back a little bit, because again, and I'm ignorant about this, so forgive me. Can you tell me, be a little more direct about when we were talking about the chemical reaction of all of this stuff? I was asking you, is there anything that we could do organically can we treat the water other than with putting more chemicals in the water to try to neutralize something that's already there? And you said, you want a certain degree of this bloom to happen because it's a normal cycle. But is there anything that we can do to govern it? Maybe that's a better way to ask the question. Is there anything we can do organically to govern it?
From my, rudimentary information that I obtain on a science level is, again, to repeat, you want to let this naturally die off. You don't want to disrupt it and move it. That's when it releases its toxins. What can we take away is, to make this not occur again, is cleansing contraptions on these release points. So we've all heard, the phrase "stop pollution at its source." This couldn't be any more evident to where, if you want to stop future blooms like this, you have to clean the water before you send it anywhere, west, east, or south. So here we are in that particular, environment, that it couldn't be any more written on the wall that something has to be done. I'm no expert. I'm literally an activist with a little bit of a ecology background, and do test the water and hang out with scientists. So the information I obtain is, you just want to naturally let this run its course, because man basically began the problem here. And, by redirection of flow and phosphorus and nitrogen levels in water, the chemical compounds have created the bloom, sure. But what we should be learning is, let Mother Nature take its course when it comes to these things. And we've created this. So here we are again with our finger on the trigger, trying to rectify the situation, and most likely going to make the situation worse.
If we go, let's go back to the source. And again, I'm ignorant about this, so forgive me. The source would be, and I know that we've talked about sugar. The source would be sugar plantation. Is that correct? Something to do with sugar?
Well, it's one of the many sources. Let's put it that way. You're talking about big agriculture being trumped when it comes to their needs over a general population of water quality. That's just not fair to me.
So, but what we're talking about, I think what I'm trying to get to is that, is it fertilizer that they're using?
Correct, amongst other harmful agents,
So fertilizer and pesticides and all that stuff is being washed down in our waterways.
Correct. And unchecked, discarded, completely thrown back into the river to create these blooms. This is where the blooms are coming from. Let's keep in mind that the point of pollution is Lake Okeechobee. How did it get that way? Several reasons. Back pumping, fertilization, chemicals into the lake, sheet flow from the north coming down, fertilization, nitrogen, phosphorus. So we have a super bloom in the lake, 90% full of cyanobacteria, and you're going to knowingly release that to communities on the east and the west. That is highly irresponsible. The problem we're having, sir, is cyanobacteria has been taken off the harmful agent list, in other words. So they don't even recognize the state cyanobacteria as a harmful agent. So that's how they're able to get away with this. This stuff is known to cause neurological problems down the road, such as ALS, Parkinson's disease. When you see the birds disoriented on the beach walking around looking like their mind is disoriented, this is exactly what's happening to humans in the long term.
Wow. Okay,
short-term health issues would be liver damage, immediate.
What can we do as individuals right away to begin some kind of, or to reinforce, what kind of action can we do as a private individual? What could I do?
Okay, so obviously what you want to do is get educated on the upcoming election. Vote. How do you make change? Obviously, politics has a huge part to play in this. You want to vote out the people who have had their chance to make this right. So we're going to hear a lot of jargon coming up in the political election cycle of, I have the cure, I have the fix. What you want to do as regular people is say, how long has this person been in office? Check their record when it comes to voting for clean water. Check their contribution intake when it comes to big agriculture. If anyone's been in there, in other words, for 2 years or longer, I would immediately vote them out. What can we do? That's a great point. It's a suffering kind of mentality because your hands are literally tied behind your back when you're going through this. So as bleak as it may sound, the best thing we can do right now is, demand political change. We can certainly, email, call, and hit up the EPA, the DEP, Fish and Wildlife, and report these things that are going on. Emails and phone calls can't be enough. They need to hear from the general.
Did we lose him? You there, Captain Hunt?
Yes, I'm here. John, if you can hear us, we're not hearing you somehow. You got muted, and we have lost him.
Well,
I hope a big algae didn't eat him or something.
Are you there?
There you go, John.
Are you there?
There you go. There, we got him back.
Okay, I'm back.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. I don't know what happened. You're not the first one that's happened to it today, but.
Well, to go back to it's very frustrating because it is going to be like this. And we finally hit that reality of we're not able to escape this, and it's hitting everyone smack in the face. So you're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to look at this as like a recovery mode. You're going to have to understand politics moves slow. You're going to have to understand that you have to hold these people accountable. If you're mad and outraged, then you need to take it to the ballot box. Plain and simple.
I think yep. I don't think it could be much more simpler than that.
And then, when it comes right down to pointing a finger, I can't stress enough that you want to point a finger at the South Florida Water Management District. Now, let's be clear on who these people are. These people are a board fully appointed by the governor. They have no accountability to anyone or any other state entity. These people are freewheeling the management of our water. And their best interest is to supply water to agricultural giants rather than the communities of South Florida in a responsible way. This has to be shined on with a spotlight. For years, the blame has been shifted over to the Army Corps and other entities. The reality is if you give the Army Corps the right job to do, chances are they will do it. The real culprit in this is the South Florida Water Management District for mismanaging our water.
John, what is a project that was going on up at Lake Okeechobee from the Army Corps engineers to redivert some of the water south? Wasn't there a big project going on up there?
Well, there's many projects. Again, we're talking about House Bill 10, to where they'll build a reservoir and send the water south. They do have pipes presently set up south. They can't necessarily send that water south because there's a certain community down south called the Nicosuke tribe, right. And they have certain, water quality standards to where they must be met. And, they're standing there basically with a lawsuit in their hand. So they're not sending the water south in fear of the tribe. They're not sending the water south in excuses all the way down to the Sparrow, which resides south. So when they get down to the bucket list of excuses, they pull out on the fifth or sixth excuse, which would be the Sparrow. Okay, if the Sparrow is more protected than human beings, what is that telling us?
Yeah.
Insanity. That's what it tells me.
It's almost like California mentality, where they would little darter fish out there, and they would rather dump the water straight into the ocean than put it in reservoirs.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're at that tipping point, and I want to be clear on that. Like, this is the worst I had seen it. And to expect an ecosystem to rebound every single time and be perfect for half of the year for the tourist season, that's not going to work anymore. This has gotten to the point where our ecosystem is so strained and stressed that I don't see it coming back this time automatically, you know, and that's what this complacency role has relied on for so long is, don't worry about it. It's just off season and it's a local problem presently, but by the time the tourists get here, the water will be back to looking pristine. And that's kind of the mentality they've relied on as a shoot yourself in the foot kind of approach, you know, and here we are in the middle of complacency. You know, not only do I blame the real culprits, the South Florida Water Management District and the state of Florida, and including the feds, but I also blame the local communities for not being proactive years ago when it comes to this. They basically became the victim role. And, you know, we're talking about, like, if you want to translate it over into an abuse kind of angle. This is nothing different than being abused and being afraid to speak out about the abuse.
Right.
So that is shooting ourselves in the foot.
Right.
Well, my friend, I'm up against a break, and I've got to take this hard break. I'm looking forward to having you back on, giving us an update as to what's going on. Thank you so very much for what you do. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. It's the Fish Florida Show.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high-quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Que Pasa Mexican Cantina is where friends and neighbors come to connect, share, and celebrate one another in a festive, casual atmosphere. Offering rich, robust flavors of authentic Mexican cuisine, we use only the freshest, finest ingredients. We chop and dice, season and blend, and then cook everything we serve to perfection. One thing that makes Mexican food even better is one of our delicious Best of the Bay margaritas. Our signature series of margarita flavors range from our sweet and fruity mango and strawberry to our hot and juicy jalapeno margarita. Having a busy meeting or getting together and looking for Mexican food? Try our Fast Fax form. It's an easy, fast way to order your favorite Mexican food. We have special platters and layouts for any occasion. The form is super easy to fill out, fax, email, or just call it in. Whether it's here in the restaurant, in your home or office, at Que Pasa we celebrate bringing people together. Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, 10478 Roosevelt Boulevard North Street in the Gateway Shopping Center, 727-330-3663 in St. Petersburg.
Hi folks, I'm Roger from Rogers Gotcha Motoring. If you need a local auto repair shop, Rogers Gotcha Motoring will take care of all of your automotive repair needs. If you need something as simple as an oil change or as complex as an engine overhaul, I have the latest in technology and the knowledge to get the job done right. We've been servicing Pinellas County since 1994 and are conveniently located at 3700 5th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you need service, call now at 727-327-1830 or visit my website at www.rogersgotchamotoring.com or like my Facebook page at Rogers Gotcha Motoring for a complete list of all of our services. So come on over to Rogers, that's me, and get your car service today. And don't forget to shop and support local business. Call now to book your appointment at 727-327-1830. That's 727-327-1830, or swing on by.
Grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. Call
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
All right, it is the final portion of our show, and I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to tune in and allow us to share with you this morning, especially this discussion that we've had about the water in South Florida. I think there's really, like John was saying, there's no hiding this anymore. It's in our face. Anyway, if you miss our show, we do replay the show at 3 p.m. here on WDBF Radio. Or you can go to the website. We have archives set up on our website, which is fishfloridashow.com. You can also find us on Facebook. Give us a like on Facebook if you would. That makes us more relevant in searches. And we're always happy to be able to present people like my next guest who, when your loved one tells you, gets twisted with you and tells you to go fly a kite, he's going to tell us a little bit about kite fishing. Good morning, Mike.
Hi, Riscala. Good morning.
Hey, he's a little low on me. Can you hear him okay, Captain Hook?
Yeah, Mike, I'm going to have to get you to speak up, get a little closer to the phone if you can. It's real low.
How's this sound, guys?
There you go.
Oh, much better.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So how are we doing there, Mike?
Well, we're doing good. We, this is a little unrelated to kite fishing, but we had a really successful Wahoo tournament. We were fishing yesterday with the West Palm Beach Fishing Club, so our team Who Dat did really well. We caught 2 fish in the morning yesterday, which has us in the solid third place.
Good. What size are these guys?
Well, third place fish for us was 36.4 pounds. There were a couple fish in the 40s that were really, really great. So there was a nice bite yesterday.
What were you using? What were you using for bait, Mike?
I fish, when we have a lot of success wahoo fishing trolling, it's really a real specific rig that I use. It's big select ballyhoo with a J-Cam lure head. J-Cam is a friend of mine who makes custom lures, and we dress them up, cut the skirts back, make them a little longer, try different things. But that horse, more or less a select to a horse-sized ballyhoo. Will behind that head really does a nice job. We fished 3 lines, 1 shotgun, 2 down on planers, and it was really good yesterday.
Good. Mm. And how deep a water were you in?
For us, the best of the bite, and we worked the whole water column from everywhere from 130 to 350. The best of the bite was between 215 and 240. Wow. And pretty much right on the tide change. Right out of the Lake Worth Inlet worked for us. Now, I've also heard great reports out of Jupiter Inlet and Boynton Beach, same kind of thing, deeper water, 200 feet plus. And evening bite was great yesterday and not yesterday, but Friday night and Thursday night. And morning bite worked yesterday pretty well.
Sounds like you had a great day of fishing out there.
It was a really nice thing. 60 boats. Few fish caught, so I'm happy about that.
What was the what was the grand prize for that tournament?
Well, this tournament, there's money in all, first through third places. There's a little bit of money. There's some good prizes. Bluefin's a sponsor. Bluefin Tackle's a sponsor, and Penn is a sponsor. It's a great tackle. The money is not really the biggest thing in this tournament. Mm-hmm. It's a 3-tournament series. And it's called the Full Moon Series. It's June full moon, July full moon, August full moon.
Oh wow! So in other words, you get points for the series, and then you fish all 3, and then you get an overall winner for the whole series. Correct?
Correct. So there's winners for every particular tournament, and then there's a cumulative that adds up over the 3 events.
Wow.
Well.
Yeah, so it was, I really like fishing this. It's a great thing to do in the summer because, as you know, down here in South Florida, the summer bite, is pretty much, the smaller mahi, it's, bonita, it's some kingfish, and then wahoo on the moons. So it's really an exciting way to make the summer go by.
Yeah, yeah. And it was nothing like fishing for wahoo. I mean, you talk about a good fight, you know.
Oh yeah,
you better have the right.
It's great.
My experience is you better have the right tackle, or you'll end up feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah. Well,
you know, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because the right tackle is true, but you know, technology today we use. You're going to laugh about this, but on my planer rods, I use spinning tackle.
Really?
So
wow.
Yeah, we load up big spinners with braid, but you know the drag capacity and the you know the backbone of some of these rods. You know, you're really fishing what was yesterday's conventional reel. You know, with these spinners, and it's so fun to catch them. You know, standing up and there really is nothing like it when they pop that band on our. You know, I do a planer rig which is attached to our rear cleats, so they're independent of the rod. So when you break that, when a fish hits, it breaks that number 64 band and just screams. There's just nothing like grabbing a spinning rod out of the rod.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's when I've had the experience where you have to take a frozen beer and pour over the top of it just to cool down the rod, cool down the reel.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember those days. That was good stuff. That reminds me of my days on the pier when you get a big smoker king.
Yeah.
And those old 4-aught Senators would heat up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've talked a little bit, a brief amount about the technology of the hardware, how far it's come, and just in fishing reels alone, I was so ignorant about so much of this stuff. I saw a reel, I don't remember who the manufacturer was, but it had a digital readout on the reel.
Oh yeah. Sounds like, oh yeah, and that's what a lot of the electrics, Hooker makes really a wonderful electric reels, and they have digital readouts, and yeah, a few others do too. Daiwa MP3000,
unbelievable.
That'll read you the depth and everything else.
That's great.
Yeah.
So the technology is like, you know, I'm still back in the days of, I picked up my open bail fishing rod, fishing reel and rod, 6-foot rod, walk down to the canal, do some fishing. I'm still back in those. That's mine. That's where I'm coming from. And I see this stuff and holy moly, I couldn't believe it. Just how far the technology has come into fishing. In the days when I had my boat, I had a chart recorder. That's how far back I go. I had a piece of, I had a thing that recorded on a piece of paper.
Oh yeah.
What was going on? Yeah. I'm revealing my age now. And we've come so far from that. So you know, along with the little peanut dolphin and, the wahoo that you caught, anything else that you're aware of going on with the fishing?
Well, you know, there's still a great, believe this or not, there's a great sailfish bite right here. You know, Juno Beach is producing a lot of sailfish mixed in with the kings and the bonita. It's really incredible. So yeah, my friends that are going out, you know, and fishing out of Jupiter and even at Palm Beach and running north a little bit, fly the kite, catch your, you know, with some live bait hanging, you've got all the bonita you can catch, and then in amongst those bonita, you're going to catch king and sailfish. Some of my buddies are catching 4 to 6 sailfish a day.
Wow.
In the summertime. So it's not like it's crappie fishing. It's just great. I mean, you know, and I never turn my nose up at a bonita. Matter of fact, I think that's one of the greatest sport fish that God put on this earth. But when the day's going slow and you want to bend a rod and really have a lot of fun playing a fish, that's a great one to catch. And then let's not forget the bait quality of that fish.
Yeah.
So we'll keep a few, put them in the freezer, and use them in future days.
You got a question there, Captain Hook?
No, I was just going to say, yeah. Every time we used to catch a bonita, we freeze them, or then that's a good invitation to go shark fishing. You know, that's my favorite. Yeah.
That's another great thing that the guys are doing. You know, when I say great, I mean it's a double-edged sword. There's so many sharks that when the sharks now hear off the edge here in Juno Beach, when they hear the motor, they come up to the boat, and I'm not talking a few sharks, many big, up to 10-foot bull sharks.
Wow!
Come up to the boat, you hang a bonita off the back, and you get a show that, you know, is like a lifetime event for some of these folks that are coming from the north.
You're talking about Juneau Inlet?
Yeah.
Juneau, right around the Juneau Pier area on the edge. So the boats that come out of Jupiter go
Jupiter Inlet. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's Jupiter Inlet. And the guys coming out of Lake Worth, Palm Beach, go a hair north, and you're right into the middle of it. You drop a bonito over, you fight them on a you fight a shark on a rope. Cobia come up with the sharks. You know, the challenge is really getting your fish away from a shark once they get all hot around the boat. But it's fun.
You got to get some video of that, Mike.
I have some video that I'll share with you. It's from a good friend of mine, Trick or Treat Charters out of Jupiter. He just sent me one. So I'll share it with you, Riscala, when
we'll put it up on the Facebook page. I can't imagine what kind of an exciting experience that would be to see these big monsters come up and just knock this stuff out. That would be really amazing to see.
Yep. Well, these great captains and charter guys, they're not hung up on the quality of the fish that they're bringing to the dock. It's about the quality experience for their charters, and that's just another way that they really make a person's day. So it's not always on a rod and reel.
Yep. Absolutely. Now, I would be a little reluctant if they threw a cage overboard and said, "Okay, jump in." I think I'd have to draw the line.
Exactly.
Well, so you're going to be doing any fishing this next week?
Well, this is my golf week, so I'm heading up to Michigan. We're going to do some golfing Monday through Sunday, and then I come back to start fishing again on the 6th. So yeah, I wish I could tell you I was fishing, but this is a different week for me.
Well, good luck on the links out there.
Thanks. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be rough.
Wow.
I'll see places that they weren't meant to be seen on a course, I'm sure.
Yes, it's true. We take plenty of balls with you. Yeah.
That's right.
So I know you have a website. What is your website?
Yeah, we didn't really talk about kite fishing, but it is. It's kitefishing.com. My Facebook page is Kite Fishing Experts. And I really always appreciate the opportunity to talk with your show, and you, Riscala, and Captain Hook. Appreciate that, too.
All right.
Hey, listen, it's always an honor to have you on. It's always, I was talking early on in the show about just kind of jokingly, if your loved one gets twisted with you and says, go fly a kite, maybe using different words, but basically go fly a kite, you can go fly a kite and have a great time.
Oh, yeah, you'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Give me a call.
I was so amazed about all the different kites that you have and all the techniques that you show and that you're knowledgeable in. Anybody who's listening, if you're interested in kite fishing, that's the place to go. Kitefishing.com, and there's a wide variety of. I think do you have videos there too as well, Mike?
Yeah, I always post one video, and then if you go to, it'll click you to YouTube, and you'll see a few others. And I've got a library of them. We're just building the site now, so you'll start seeing as time goes on a better video library.
And a wide variety of ways to kite. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's really more instructional. It's not necessarily all about catching fish or seeing fish being caught. It's going to be about educating folks on how it's not that difficult to get a kite up and fish with it. It's really a lot of fun, and if you give it a try, you'll see.
Mm-hmm. Captain Hook?
Yes, sir.
I thought you had a question. I apologize. I thought you were getting ready to ask a question.
No, actually, I'm just getting ready for the next show.
Gotcha.
I'm doing double duty today over here. So,
yeah. Normally, I would have Pam with me this morning, but she's out doing a tournament, and I hope she does well. God bless you, Pam. What is it that we like to say is bent rods and tight lines and that kind of thing?
That's right.
Anyway, Mike, thank you so much for calling in. He's with kitefishing.com. If you want to reach him, you can also find him on Facebook. I wish you a great week, Mike, and we'll be talking to you soon, my friend. Again, my thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. That is Mike. Simcoe. He's with kitefishing.com. And this has been the Fish Florida Show. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen in this morning. I hope that, again, we could have talked about much happier subjects during a portion of the show, but this is reality, and I think it's important. It's very important that we discuss this and that people become aware of what's going on, especially within our very environment. And, as John said, you can actually physically get sick from what's going on, and I think it's time for us to stand up and do something about it. And the very first thing we can do is respond to that with our votes. Have a great weekend.